Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany. Joining me today, co-host of The Bottom Line on Fox Business, Dagan McDowell. The host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. Fox News contributor, family and emergency medicine doctor, Dr. Jeanette Neshwat. And Veterans on Duty chairman and former Army intelligence captain, Jeremy Hunt. We begin this Friday with the startling disconnect between the president's economic vision for the country and the reality that so many Americans are facing. President Biden, he's been out on the road this week, busy promoting his so-called Bidenomics agenda ahead of the 2024 election and marking the one-year anniversary of the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which didn't reduce inflation.
They call my plan Bidenomics. I'm not sure they meant it in a totally complimentary way at the time. But guess what? It's working.
But new Fox News polling shows voters aren't buying what the president is selling. 70% of voters say they are dissatisfied with how things are going. That could be a big problem for the president and his re-election prospects, as voters say the economy is the top issue by a wide margin. Also alarming for the president, just 25% of voters say his policies have made the economy better, while more than 52% say he's made it worse. So it should come as no surprise that the president is getting low marks for his job performance. Just 42% of voters approve of the job he's doing, 58% disapprove. So Bidenomics clearly not being sold to the American people who are saying we reject this. But Dagan, I want you to take a look at what the administration and Democrats are out on the airwaves telling us about the economy.
Our economy is doing so well, and it's in good part because of the work we in the Senate and the president did over the last summer.
This is a president who has spent the last 2 years turning the economy around. You hear us talk about Bidenomics. You just mentioned how we're doing this West Coast swing, talking directly to the American people about how wages are actually going up, about how inflation is going down over a long, extended period of time, more than 12 months.
In polls, the American public, almost half of them don't feel like the economy is going well. What do you attribute that to?
People naturally are hesitant to accept when they see progress on the horizon.
So people aren't accepting it, Dagan, but let's pop up this other Fox poll. Grocery prices, 87% say it's a problem for their family. Gas prices, 85%. Utility costs, 81%.
I'm not going to sit here and go through all the price increases under Joe Biden because people know that. So the inflation rate has eased a little bit, but prices don't come down and have not come down. And this is a combination of pathological liars and sadists because they've intentionally inflicted this pain on the American people. I call it the economic vice of Bidenomics, because on one side, it's inflation, and then on the other side, it's now interest rates. And they, all of those people, those chatterboxes on TV, have put working Americans in that vice, and Joe Biden and his cronies are just screwing it and tightening it and tightening it on the American people. Inflation is going to get worse because of gasoline and food prices. And interest rates, mortgage rates are now the highest in more than 20 years, more than 7% as of yesterday. Buyers are locked out. People ran up their credit cards because they couldn't cope with inflation. North of $1 trillion in credit card debt. The average credit card rate this week is about 25%. That's Bidenomics. And the fact that they are lecturing Americans as if they don't understand what's going on is really disgusting.
Yeah, and hearkening back, Kennedy, to 2016, a Gallup poll I saw this morning, September 2016. So 2 months before Donald Trump becomes president, 57% said the economy was getting worse.
It was for them, and then it got better. The earlier part of President Trump's term was actually quite a boon for many, many working Americans, and they were starting to see those wage increases. This, of course, before the pandemic. But, you know, Jen Psaki is just in disbelief that the poll numbers are so low, and the economic poll numbers are the thing that's dragging the president's overall rating down. And that's because, to Dagan's point, people see this every day. They know they can't afford things, and they were told that there would be relief if the Fed just kept raising rates. It would tame inflation. The economy would get better. They would make more money, but unfortunately, they owe a lot more money now than they did before. They're not going to be able to pay the minimum balance on their credit cards, and people are going to start defaulting. And that means their credit scores are going to go down. And their hope of being a homeowner for the first time, that evaporates with it. So you've got so many aspects of the economy that could crater based on the numbers that we're seeing now. They're only focusing on the good numbers, but people don't feel that. And that's what they respond to when they're asked about how the economy is going and how they feel about the direction of the country. They see it as being in the toilet because they are hurting.
Yeah, in the polls, good point, they are a reflection of the people, Jeremy, and some of the people spoke in a focus group. Politico described it this way. In a focus group last week, 8 men of color who voted for President Joe Biden in 2020 were asked to describe their feelings about the economy. The answers were bleak. Discouraged, one said. Pathetic, complained another. Pessimistic, said a third. The signs of dissatisfaction with Democrats didn't end there. They went on to talk about rising crime in the streets. But one voter said our economy is the lowest it's been, and God knows how long. We keep sending money to Ukraine and other countries. What about helping ourselves? This is how voters feel.
Yeah, I mean, I love that this is finally coming to light and people are seeing what's been going on, because I think Biden honestly thinks that the American people are just going to forget about what's been going on the last 4 years. They're just going to forget about how they aren't able to afford a home, or how their wages have suffered, how we aren't able to afford basic necessities because of inflation's out of control. I mean, he's basically taking this big bet that people aren't paying attention, but they are paying attention to their bank accounts, right? I mean, and he is especially true when it comes, when you look at the focus group, when he looks at black men, he's hoping that the black vote can just take it for granted. Oh, black people aren't paying attention. Just tell them Bidenomics is great, and they'll just take what I'm going to give them. But people are paying attention. These are smart people. You have to respect voters. Listen, and the idea that you're just going to double down on what has been a disaster for the economy is just totally absurd.
Yeah, he won 92% of black voters, and it's not looking like he will win that share this time around. We'll see, but polling doesn't reflect that. The Achilles heel, though, for the GOP, though, Washington Examiner, issues, not indictments. Biden hopes economic optimism contrasts with Trump. He's not going to be talking about the indictments. He's going to be painting this rosy picture of the economy over and over and over again, while Republicans remain enmeshed in, distractions.
Well, Kayleigh, it's a facade. And to Jeremy's point, yes, Americans are paying attention. I took a look at Bidenomics. I wanted to see exactly what was in it. My takeaway: higher taxes, especially on the wealthy and corporations, and massive spending, especially when it comes to climate change. And then they want to dump more money into COVID. Hello, I've had maybe 3 or 4 cases of COVID this entire week. So they're just spending money, and they're spending it recklessly. But really, it's no surprise that these poll numbers are just tanking. Our economy is flailing. On average, about maybe $20 is what an average American has in their pocket after all their bills are paid. That's almost nothing. How do you live like that?
How do you afford an emergency?
Exactly. It's very difficult. That's why we see credit card rates going up. And then we look at education system that's plummeting. 30% of students cannot read. And then, to make matters worse, loss of energy independence makes everything go up. Gas, groceries, the cost of health care, co-pays and premiums. So we need some major changes for sure.
We do. And the average American paying $709 more per month. That is extraordinary.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.